So today we'll be playing a free association game with our superintendent. And so essentially the rules are you have to answer either in 2 sentences or you can pass. And these are just topics that kids in high school, middle school, and elementary school would love to hear you speak on. So that's our plan for the rest of our time here.
Okay.
The first is walkout protests.
Conflicted. I think that students like to speak up and they want to speak out, and they also need to be concerned for their own safety and their own learning, and how all that fits together is not simple.
All right. Now we have final exams.
Final exams are a part of life, assessments the rest of your life. Don't get hung up on how the final exam is constructed so much as, is it a good assessment that tests what you really have been taught, and does it show you clearly what your next steps forward are as a student?
Okay. 20-minute lunch in elementary schools.
Too short.
I would agree. Helicopter parents.
I think it's hard for parents to understand how you create distance between your child and yourself, and that happens over time. And so it's a very difficult process, but parents have to learn that, because otherwise their children might live with them in their basement when they're 35.
Yeah, that's a growing concern of mine. And now lawnmower parents. Have you heard that
I've
term?
heard of that term recently. I would say none of us should be a lawnmower. I don't care what our justification is for that.
Yeah. And now we have the achievement gap.
One of my biggest concerns, one of the biggest concerns I have for this community, for this state and this nation, options and choices for every single student when they walk out the door with a diploma, so they get to choose what they do in life.
Okay, that's interesting that you say that, because we have the opportunity gap and the achievement gap as two different topics listed here. And do you think that there's...
I think the achievement gap exists when you leave school at the end of 12th grade. The opportunity gap is what happens all the way through school that causes disparities in learning. And we have to know the difference, and we have to treat those disparities and those causes in early elementary, intermediate elementary, middle school, because if you get to high school with big disparities, it's really, really hard to catch up.
Okay. Yeah, I would actually. Musicals.
I love musicals. I've directed a bunch of them.
What's your favorite musical?
Oh, gosh. My favorite musical. I really like Fiddler on the Roof. I really like it a lot. I really like Man of La Mancha. I really like Hello, Dolly. And I saw the Carole King musical Beautiful on Broadway a few months ago.
I've heard
I very much like that. So I like a lot of the current ones. I haven't seen Hamilton yet, but I want to.
Yeah.
So I really like them a lot.
You have to win a lottery, basically, to see Hamilton
Exactly,
nowadays.
yes.
Okay, the magnet schools.
I think magnet schools are interesting. I really spent some time trying to understand the Montgomery County system, and I think that it's a very strong system, and there's a lot of room for improvement and growth, for opportunity for more and more students.
Okay, and Snapchat filters.
I really don't know anything about that at all.
Okay.
Nothing.
Let me introduce you to the world of the millennium.
Okay. I get to learn something right now.
So it recognizes our faces, essentially.
Okay.
And then we can do all of these, like, cute things to them. Like, this one makes me a cat, and now you're a dog.
Oh, my goodness.
Isn't that
That's
just
amazing. I have never seen like that before.
It's so cute. I love it. Oh, wow, we switched.
That cracks me
so
up.
fun. Yeah, it's so
I
fun.
probably won't be doing that anytime soon. I might learn from my grandchildren, because they would love that.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, my little cousins who are very little, like, even know how to use these things. It's so insane.
Yes.
I didn't know how to type my name until I was in elementary school.
Yep.
And then our last, this is extremely relevant to my personal story, cell phones in elementary schools.
I don't know the answer to that. I think that lots of people have a lot of different perceptions and experiences and beliefs about it. And we're going to spend the next 6 or 7 months really thinking about what's the appropriate access point and entry point into that conversation. So we're not doing anything this year.
What does Martin Luther King's legacy mean to me personally? And I would break it down to 3 things, really. That's dedication, service, and justice.
And so if I might paraphrase Dr. King, I believe today that the solutions we are looking for as our nation comes forward and prepares for an incredible change in a couple of days, those solutions aren't found in the thesis of conservatism or the antithesis of liberalism, but in a higher synthesis. And so we make no illusions, we have no illusions about the ardent differences that we have. However, I believe as we reflect on the life and legacy of Dr. King, we can find those areas of common ground and we can find that higher synthesis if we look for it.
King understood, like many who did not, that humanity is our greatest strength. And it is when we come together as human beings, committed to create substantive change, that real things happen. What will we do from here is the question. Because if we just come to celebrate King on this birthday, jump up and down and shout, have young people come up and regurgitate the I Have a Dream speech, talk about how he was the great unifier, but not truly live the spirit for which his life was taken, then we are the ones who have lost the most. And our children will not see a model of what's possible for this future.
So to my young people, don't let your age be a consideration of restricting your leadership role. You are the Martin Luther Kings of today and tomorrow.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help me God. Congratulations, Mr. President.
There ain't no grave can hold my body down. There ain't no grave can hold my body down. When I hear that trumpet sound, I'm gonna rise right out of the ground. Ain't no grave can hold my body down. Well, look way down the river. What do you think I see? I see a band of angels and they're coming after me. Ain't no grave can hold my body down.
We can't just sit here and fight against the deportations that are coming. We need full citizenship for all people who have been in this country.
But Gabriel, don't you blow your trumpet till you hear from me. There ain't no grave can hold my body down. Ain't no grave can hold my body down. Well, meet me, Jesus, meet me. Meet me in the middle of the air. And if these wings don't fail me,
We cannot forget what we want to push forward.
ain't no grave can hold my
We can't only
body
fight
down.
against the repeal of the ACA.
There ain't no
The
grave
ACA wasn't
can
enough
hold my
in
body
the first
down.
place. We need health
Well,
care
meet me,
for all
mother and
people
father.
in this country.
Meet me down the
We
river
can't
road.
forget that.
And mama, you know that I'll be there when I check in my load. Ain't no grave can hold my body down. There ain't no grave.
On Friday, me and my friends went to the inauguration. It was a long-awaited event for many Trump supporters, but it was the worst day of their lives for the many who were supporting Hillary Clinton on the other side. There were a lot of protesters outside the inauguration. They didn't let the Trump supporters come in and go to the inauguration place, to the Capitol, and they were trying to get in, but the protesters were blocking all the entrances. And amazingly enough, the police wasn't interfering. But then at the end of the inauguration, once we got out, the protest turns into riots. People started breaking into Starbucks and Bank of America and started burning the limo, which should have never happened. There were also people getting beat up, and amazingly enough, the cops weren't doing anything. So I thought that was pretty weird. That then the police wasn't taking any action. All they were doing was pepper spraying and a couple other things, but that doesn't really work when with people who have the masks and everything. And I'm fine with protests. I'm fine with them, and they should happen because people have the right to protest. But when the protest turns into riots, it's not something right, and it should never happen. So
while I was at the protest, I asked myself, why were windows broken and cars burned, stones hurled, and police lines broken? Was it out of a mere love of destruction or chaos? Perhaps it is to show people that things are not normal. It is so easy to slip back into the pattern of everyday life, of study and work, but that should not be the case. It should not be normal for a president to be elected by losing the popular vote by 3 million. It should not be normal that a man can win by insulting immigrants, the disabled, and Muslims. It should not be normal that a man who has systematically frauded people, such as the patrons of Trump University, to be elected as president of these United States. All of this is not normal. All of this is surreal. It is violent to burn cars and smash windows, but it is also violent to strip people of their right to health care and to deny green card holders their right to return to the United States.
Make this right by me, love. Take my ribs out to shore. Carve my heart out of damp paper towels and say we've been here before. Will you ever get over the apathy of your pen being just out of your reach? Won't you look closer? Can't you find you're the only one to change my mind? There is ink in your veins, love. There is black in your blood. Everything you say is true, but your bruises they show. And will you ever get over the apathy of your pen being just out of your reach? Won't you look closer? Can't you find you're the only one to change my mind? Won't we
like to be the Westland principal. I guess I should tell you that's who I am. I'm Allison Serino. Never been more proud to be the principal of this amazing place. Tonight, my hope, our hope, was that we could gather and share messages of kindness and hope, that we could try to remain completely apolitical.
Symbols and actions all have meaning. Instead of hatred, let us choose symbols of peace, words of respect, and actions of unity that represent who we are and the diversity we embrace.
Honestly, I thought it was amazing how this whole community turned something pretty devastating into a reason to come together and show that we're stronger than this.
Whether school is acting or not, they're either way expressing a standpoint and playing a key role in our social interactions and in the way we view the environment no matter what they do. So they might as well be doing the right thing.
It's better if these students can learn how to talk about these issues from their classmates, but if the administration is just kind of pointing their finger and saying like this is okay, this is not okay, like this deserves a punishment, that doesn't actually teach the students how to interact with these issues. It's more just like they have to deal with these punishments, but once they graduate from high school, they're free to do whatever they want.
So, personally, I think schools should get involved by being the outlet for students to enable change.
I think that if the school takes measures that follow the general wishes of the student body, as opposed to working against the views of the student body, that can be really helpful. Doing things like making the cafeteria a more pleasing place to be in order to try to bring people together to the cafeteria. Thanks.
In the video I2 and BCC, you see a girl who says, I wanted to take full IB, and the teacher told me, are you sure you want to do that? Are you sure you want to take that path? Because it's very hard. That shouldn't happen. I think that we should be pushed by our teachers to try hard in school. We should be pushed to challenge ourselves academically, regardless of your race, your class, or anything else. You should be pushing yourself in school. I mean, what we see is also financially. We should have things like financial aid to take the IB classes, which are very expensive. They're very expensive to take these exams. We should be setting up programs so that we could get more kids and we could integrate the IB classes by just focusing on challenging yourselves academically, and with the teachers encouraging those choices.
Today we're going to be talking about hate crimes and their heightened frequency in the county at the moment. So let's just get straight into it. So the Montgomery County Police Chief recently cited a 17% rise in hate crimes in Montgomery County, and subsequently said that there has been a rise in crime specifically within Montgomery County schools. This has been shown at Quince Orchard, Westland most recently, and Burning Tree. So what do you think this rise has been attributed to, and also what active steps has the school system taken to kind of curtail this rise?
Well, I think the rise is directly related to the human condition and how people treat one another and why they treat one another in different ways. And it's certainly, if you look throughout history, human beings aren't always very good to each other, very nice, very civil. In fact, quite often they're really terrible to one another. And I think that anytime people believe, either because they're careless or because they're malicious, that they can be hateful and they can treat other people in an aggressive, violent sort of way with their language, with symbols, or with physical violence, that we all have to say stop. And Montgomery County Public Schools has said, stop, don't do this. We take it seriously. Well, we also have to vigorously look into every incident. And if we are able to identify just like in the community or the society, if we are able to identify the person responsible, then there has to be an individual consequence.
Good morning, class. Settle down now. Johnny, keep your hands to yourself. Don't you dare try that puppy dog look with me, young man. Everyone, settle down. We've got lots to talk about today, and boy, is this important stuff. Now, I know many of you are going through a time in your life when unusual emotions are floating through your heads. I don't want to embarrass you. I am here to help you get through this complicated time. Of course, I'm talking about those unsettling thoughts that too many are suffering from. Emboldened thoughts of hate. Thankfully, we have our old friends Doofus and Dylan to help us out. Let me remind you kids that in these scenarios it is best to act like Dylan and avoid any resemblance to Doofus. Here's one for you. Doofus attacks someone else's views when they differ from his own. However, Dylan, on the other hand, engages in a conversation and listens to the other person's arguments, even if he disagrees with them.
I can totally see why we should build a wall. I mean...
Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. I can't even believe people like you exist.
I mean, those people just don't belong in our country.
Why do you think that? I want to see where you're coming from.
Now kids, it's important to take the time to learn and understand. Here, Doofus is bothered by the addition of a gender-neutral bathroom at his school. Dylan, on the other hand, understands that the addition of a bathroom that does not affect him in any way isn't a problem, and that just because someone is gaining freedom does not mean his is diminished.
Wow. What a waste of space. I mean, this is just a great opportunity to make your classmates more comfortable. You're not losing anything. It just gets to help some of our students.
Now, most importantly, staying quiet doesn't benefit anyone. Unless you're in my class, of course. Back to the lesson. Doofus stays quiet and becomes a bystander when he witnesses someone being harassed or ridiculed. Dylan, however, approaches the victim and engages in a conversation to distract them from the harassment.
Dude, did you hear what Jordana did last Friday? No, what'd she do? She hooked up with like 5 guys. She's such a Dude, did you hear what Jordan did last Friday? Look, she hooked up with like 5 guys at a party. She's such a Hey, dude, why do you say that? That's like awful and really disrespectful. You shouldn't say that about people. Sorry, I didn't mean it like that.
That's all for now, kids. Hope you learned something today.
Like she would say, oh, Ova, you have like, oh, look at your dark hair, or look at your, I don't know, make fun of my nose or something like that. But that didn't get to me, you know?
When Jaime got on the bus and started walking towards me, he tripped on a boy's outstretched leg. This boy was sitting in front of me, and while Jaime apologized and tried to take out his headphones quickly, the boy whispered stupid under his breath. I was so shocked I couldn't speak for a few minutes. This was my 2nd year in the school, and I had faced nothing but acceptance from everyone. No one ever felt the need to hide their true self, be it their nationality, race, or sexuality. I never imagined I would see such offhanded hatred coming from someone in school.
I think that I have been a witness of kind of how people behave around just people that aren't from here. And I've seen that around me, I've seen it around other people.
I've heard a few racist comments around the hallways, never directed at me, but I have unfortunately heard them, and it just made me really uncomfortable.
I believe President Obama was a great leader because he cared for all Americans. President Obama also gave hope to minorities across this nation. Obama also changed America's healthcare system, created relations with Russia, China, and other foreign nations. Obama also was the most caring president the United States has ever had. His response to shootings and other tragedies was heartbreaking. My favorite thing about President Obama was his character.